magical souls, welcome back to Cosmic Connections. This is a place for starseeds, empaths, lightworkers, healers, old souls, and all others in between to rediscover your own inner magic. Today we are diving into the bold and illuminating frequency of the current Mercury retrograde in Leo, which began on July 17th and will officially end around August 10th. Mercury rules communication, technology, and thought, and when it moves in reverse, we're invited to revisit, reflect, and reclaim what might have been lost in the rush. But Leo adds fire and flair, so get ready for truth-telling, ego recalibration, and a spotlight on your authentic voice. Mercury retrograding entirely through Leo is very rare and powerful. Leo is ruled by the sun, so this retrograde centers around creative self-expression, speaking from the heart, revisiting your passion projects, and confronting how you handle visibility and personal pride. Don't be surprised if old passions, hobbies, or interests rise to the forefront of your mind with an exciting and fiery desire to be indulged upon. You can trust that any desires of self-expression that come through to you during this time will be planting the seeds of intention for your soul's future pursuits. You may also notice an emphasis on how you are perceived through your personal self-expression. If you've had any resistance in fully sharing your gifts, talents, or abilities with the world or the ones around you, there will be a gentle nudge from your soul to reconfigure how you allow yourself to be seen and heard, urging you to go all in and not hold back. You can also expect flare-ups in communication, especially when the ego gets involved. But beneath all of the noise is a beautiful opportunity to realign with your soul's unique message. As Mercury retrogrades, it's also joined by Neptune, Saturn, and Chiron, all also in a retrograde motion. This energetic combo asks the following questions. Are you following your intuition or escaping it, which is emphasized by Neptune? Where do karmic loops still run, which is brought to the surface by Saturn? And what inner child wound is finally ready for love, which is acknowledged through Chiron's energy? This shadow work lit by the sun's rays is a beautiful duality that is willing to help you see clearly so you can heal deeply. If called, you can use journaling, tarot energy work, nature crystals, or any other modalities that work for you to support yourself during these shifts. But before we move on to zodiac predictions, let's explore in depth more on what these other planetary retrogrades are bringing to the cosmic table. Neptune retrograde in Pisces reveals and opens the veil. What once felt dreamy or idealized may now appear distorted. This is a time when spiritual bypassing, escapism, and/or overly romanticized visions are finally exposed. So you may feel disillusioned at times, but just keep in mind that this is actually sacred clarity. Your dreams, intuition, and psychic downloads may intensify, and you may also feel called to ponder the question, where have I been avoiding the truth in the name of comfort? Neptune calls you to explore where you've been spiritually disconnected or overly reliant on fantasy. If this resonates with you, you may want to dive into some personal shadow work to help yourself release old and outdated energies. Recommended practices include reconnecting with grounded intention through meditation, water rituals, dream journaling, spending time in nature, saging your space and aura, and also communicating with your spirit guides more during this period. Saturn retrograde in Pisces brings a review of boundaries, discipline, and soul contracts. It's not about punishment, but refinement. So you may notice old responsibilities rising and resurfacing, and because of this, you're being asked to reevaluate your commitments and energetic investments. You may also be called to ask yourself, what structures actually support my spiritual growth and which ones are suppressing it? If this resonates, the shadow work invitation from Saturn is to reflect on your relationship with time, authority, and self-discipline. Reclaim your sovereignty by setting boundaries that honor your emotional and energetic needs. There may be an emphasis on saying no to certain people, situations, and circumstances as to have more time and space to indulge in more of what is actually aligned to you moving forward. Chiron retrograde in Aries activates the inner warrior and the wounded child. This is a potent time for ancestral healing, identity reclamation, soul retrieval, and emotional release. Keep in mind that old wounds may reopen not to hurt you, but to heal you. You may feel called to revisit childhood memories or past life echoes, and your soul may urge you to consciously ask yourself, where am I still carrying pain that isn't mine? Chiron provides an energy in which we can truly release deeply rooted ego fears, traumas, and pains. This shadow work associated with Chiron's presence includes somatic practices, breathwork, energy healing, and or journaling past pains on paper and burning it to release heavily stored trauma. After releasing, channeling your pain into creative expressions through art, writing, singing, or movement can be deeply cathartic. So, you may be wondering, what part does Leo play in all of this? With Mercury retrograding in Leo, all of this shadow work is being filtered through the lens of self-expression, ego, and visibility. Leo asks you, are you speaking your truth or just performing it? Is your confidence rooted in the soul or in ego validation? And what parts of your identity are finally ready to evolve? This is a time to reclaim your voice, not just for others, but for yourself. The fire of Leo burns away any false personas and invites you to stand in your radiant truth. So, with all of that being said, let's finally tune into the energies that each zodiac sign may experience during this Mercury retrograde period. Be sure to check your sun and rising sign for accuracy, as well as your Mercury placement for added insight. These will be grouped by element, so be sure to use the timestamps below to find your specific signs. Fire signs feel Leo's retrograde most intensely, as it activates their sense of purpose and identity. For Aries, old passions may burst back to life, tempting you to reignite unfinished creative projects or relationships. But Mercury warns you, don't rush. Ego-driven declarations can backfire. Use this time to slow down and ask, does this spark feel aligned or just nostalgic? The theme for Aries during this retrograde period is reclaiming authentic ambition without losing your center. For Leos, this retrograde is your cosmic reset button. Your identity, visibility, and self-expression are finally up for review. You may feel misunderstood or unusually quiet, prompting an ego reflection. Let go of pride-driven patterns to embody your soul truth. The theme for Leos during this retrograde period is rebirth of the voice, where confidence meets vulnerability. If you have any Sagittarius placements during this Mercury retrograde period, your beliefs and vision may be rerouted. If you've been chasing a goal too quickly, this pause is meant to recalibrate your inner compass. Old spiritual frameworks, teachers, and travel plans may reappear, but make sure that you consciously review these things before recommitting. The theme for Sagittarius during this retrograde period is deepening your wisdom through reflection, not action. Emotionally sensitive water signs will be stirred during this Mercury retrograde period. This is a season of soulful messages and inner clarity shining through. For Cancers, your self-worth and value systems are shifting. This retrograde nudges you to examine how past relationships or family dynamics affect your inner dialogue. Financial themes may resurface, so ask, where am I undervaluing myself? The theme for Cancers during this retrograde period is emotional truth meets practical realignment. For Scorpios, your public image and career direction are under cosmic audit during this retrograde period. A past project, opportunity, or mentor may re-enter your life, inviting you to either complete or release a lingering chapter. Stay open to transformation that begins behind closed doors. The theme for Scorpios during this retrograde period is empowerment through conscious visibility. For Pisces, your day-to-day rituals, wellness habits, and spiritual routines are seeking renewal. Mercury invites you to return to forgotten practices and assess what truly supports your mind-body connection. Avoid overcommitting because less is sacred right now. The theme for Pisces during this retrograde period is sacred structures supports spiritual flow. For air signs, during this retrograde period, mental clarity may feel foggy, but intuitive downloads are strong, so listen more than you speak. For Geminis, as Mercury's ruler, you feel static. Communication mishaps are likely, especially around creative collaborations or short-term travel. You're not losing your voice, you're learning to refine it. The theme for Geminis during this retrograde period is honoring thoughtful speech over clever sound bites. For Libra placements, friendships and social circles get a cosmic review during this retrograde period. Someone from your past may return, but ask if the connection supports your evolving frequency. You're defining new boundaries that protect peace and passion. The theme for Libras during this retrograde period is heart-centered discernment within group dynamics. For Aquarius placements during this retrograde period, relationships of all kinds enter the cosmic mirror. Old lovers, misunderstandings, and unspoken truths could resurface. Instead of rationalizing, lean into emotional clarity. The theme for Aquarius during this retrograde period is healing connection through authentic communication. During this Mercury retrograde period, grounded earth signs are asked to integrate shadow work with practical change. Remember, stability comes from inner truth. For Taurus, home, family, and emotional security take center stage during this retrograde period. You may be asked to reevaluate your foundations, what feels nourishing and what feels draining. Slow down and speak gently in domestic matters. The theme for Taurus during this retrograde period is rooted change through emotional awareness. For Virgo placements, this Mercury retrograde period is a deep subconscious cycle. Mercury retrogrades in your 12th house territory, so expect vivid dreams, intuitive insights, and even strange delays. Solitude is medicine, especially if overstimulation has dulled your clarity. The theme for Virgos during this retrograde period is quiet revelations spark creative rebirth. For Capricorns, emotional depth emerges possibly through money, intimacy, or even hidden truths during this retrograde period. You're being guided to face what has been buried for the sake of control. This retrograde period wants you to loosen the grip and feel into power differently, more authentically and soul-aligned. The theme for Capricorn during this retrograde period is sacred surrender opens new pathways to mastery. This specific retrograde period invites you to slow down, realign, and renew your voice. So with that being said, here are a few Mercury retrograde rituals you may want to explore during this introspective season. If you'd like to tap into the fiery energy of Leo, you can light a gold candle and write a letter to your future self. Let it burn all the way and then bury this letter somewhere safe and or sacred to plant the seed for the future that you want to experience. You can also use crystals like blue lace agate for clear speech, aurora opal for soul alignment, and sunstone to activate Leo fire power. You can carry these with you daily, wear them in jewelry, use them in divination practices, or even keep them on your altar for the duration of the retrograde period, or even sleep with them under your pillow. Journaling will also be a great way to release old energies and connect back to your soul's divine clarity. Ask yourself, what am I ready to say or do that I've been afraid to express in the past? Once completed, burn this paper and bury the ashes in the ground to fully purge and release this energy. You can also pull a few tarot or oracle cards with the intention of discovering what has been holding you back, what is ready to be released, what is ready to be embodied, and what soul essence is ready to be shared with others. You can also reflect your soul essence and dissolve false personas by placing a small mirror on your altar or anywhere sacred in your home with a Leo symbol or solar sigil. Surround it with affirmations crystals and a red, orange, or yellow candle. Each morning, look into the mirror and say, I am the voice of my soul, I shine with truth. A wonderful practice during this retrograde period is to detox from overstimulation and reconnect with your inner guidance with a silent day ritual. Choose one day during the retrograde period to remain silent. This includes no speaking, texting, or posting online. Spend time in nature, meditate, and/or create intuitive art. At the end of the day, journal what surfaced from the silence. I intend that these ritual tips will help you navigate the current cosmic energies at play during this Mercury retrograde period. Feel free to drop your rising sign or Mercury placement below. I'd love to hear how this aligns with you. If you feel that this video resonates and supports your energetic path, feel free to like, subscribe, and share it with a fellow like-minded soul. You can also check out my 7/7 portal reading below for an even deeper layer of cosmic activation, as well as my new and full moon collective readings to understand what the lunar energies are providing for us with each cycle. Also, keep an eye out for my Lionsgate activation tarot pick-a-card reading coming very soon as well. Until next time, I am Carissa, this is Cosmic Connections, and